What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB. So, first game will be Miami Marlins versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, in this game, it's at Miami, and our pitchers, you have Gillespie for the Marlins with a 3.86 ERA and Kelly for the Diamondbacks with an ERA of 7.2. So with all that information, I think the Marlins beat the Diamondbacks. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds versus the Seattle Mariners. So similar to the previous game, it's at Cincinnati, and the ERA is an advantage of Cincinnati. So Udolo has an ERA 0.96 and Castillo has an ERA 2.12. So with with those two facts, I think the Reds beat the Mariners. All right. Philadelphia Phillies versus the San Francisco Giants. So, yeah, basically the same thing. The home team just has a pitcher has a better ERA. So for the Phillies, who are the home team, Luzardo has an ERA of 1.5, and Verlander for the Giants has an ERA 6.92. Now, Verlander has been a very good pitcher over the years, but he's a high ERA right now. Now, while that could drop as the season goes by, given his reputation, it's a very high ERA. That's almost 7. That is very high. But it could go down. So Giants could definitely win this game. But I think with it being at Philly and with the ERA that Luzardo has, I think the Phillies beat the Giants. All right, Yankees versus Royals. So yeah, there's just a multiple games where you have the home team just has the better ERA pitcher. So Freed for the Yankees, who are the home team, has an ERA 1.56, and Wacha for the Royals has an ERA of 4.2. I think the Yankees beat the Royals for those reasons. Let's see. Detroit Tigers versus the Milwaukee Brewers. And so Milwaukee is the home team. And Priester's ERA for the Brewers is 1.8, and Flaherty's for the Tigers, his ERA is 1.62. So Tigers technically do have advantage on the ERA now, but 1.62, 1.8, they're pretty close. So I think with it being at Milwaukee, I think the Brewers beat the Tigers. Let's see. Texas Rangers versus Los Angeles Angels. So this is at Texas, and neither ERA is great for the pitchers. So Corbin for the Rangers has an ERA of 6.75, and Kikuchi for the Angels has an ERA of 5. Yeah, I mean, neither of those are great ERAs. So with it being at, Texas, I think the Rangers beat the Angels tomorrow. All right. San Diego Padres versus the Chicago Cubs. So yeah, like with a lot of the previous games, the home team pitcher has a better ERA, so Padres are the home team, and Vasquez has a ERA for the Padres has an ERA of 1.72, and Imanaga for the Cubs has an ERA of 2.7. I think with all that, I think the Padres beat the Cubs tomorrow. NBA. So right now we are in the postseason. And so tomorrow you have the seventh place versus eighth place games, both the East and the West. So now starting off with the East game, which is the Atlanta Hawks versus the Orlando Magic. This game is in Orlando, so I think the Orlando Magic beats the Hawks tomorrow. All right, next game, the one for the West, which is the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors. This one is at Golden State, so I think the Warriors beat the Grizzlies tomorrow. College baseball, so this is a midweek, you know, day, so Tuesdays and Wednesdays are midweeks. There's not a lot of big games. You occasionally see some, but see they're like in-state rivalries. So, like one of the ones we're gonna talk about. So, first one, number 14 Georgia Tech at number 5 Georgia. So yeah, you have both. You have clean old-fashioned hate in Athens. Now, this is a baseball game, not a football game, so it's not going to get the kind of hype that the football game does. But both teams are ranked, which in a lot of sports that doesn't happen a lot. You don't usually see both Georgia and Georgia Tech ranked in the sport at the same time when they're going against each other. When it happens, it's a big freaking deal. And it's usually Tech's fault because they're not ranked a lot in a lot of sports. But but anyway, so this is at Athens. So with this being midweek pitchers, the pitchers may not be the best because a lot of times schools save those for their weekends because that involves conference play. And so pitching may not necessarily be the best. Now, for midweek, they may care a little more because it's a rivalry game. So I think with it being at Athens, I think Georgia beats Georgia Tech tomorrow. Yeah. And then next game, UCLA versus Oregon State. So this isn't necessarily like the big one, the big time rivalry games, but this is the other ranked versus ranked matchup tomorrow. For midweek. Yeah, it's not often you see ranked versus ranked in midweek. So, it's a big freaking deal. So this is at UCLA, and kind of like the previous one, they're probably gonna be using midweek pitchers, so it's not gonna have as big of an effect on the overall season. Like rank as far as rankings go, midweeks are not generally taken into account a lot. It's mostly weekend series that the polls take into account because that's where you use your main pitchers. And it affects conference play a lot. So, and that's how you get a lot of upsets on midweeks. So, I think with it being at UCLA, I think the UCLA Bruins beat the Oregon State Beavers tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening and look forward to the next video.